Okay, what's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday, December 2nd, 6:38 p.m., just a little bit after the daily close that we just had. All right, I wanted to talk about exactly the market structure and what's going on in BTC. So I'm going to start off with, first of all, the 15-minute time frame because I took a Bitcoin scalp position. Again, for the Advantage members, of course, you could see this in Bitcoin scalp. I posted this, I don't know what time it was exactly. I think it was right here, somewhere where Bitcoin was kind of just pushing up right outside the 19,075 area. Took that quick trade. It was a high risk trade. Again, I told y'all that I'm not really interested in scalping, and I don't think you should be either, because this is a good area to get chopped up in. But when I find good opportunities where price was doing a couple good things, which is if you look, let's turn on the historical pivots, right? So over here, price was kind of getting up and above the pivot right here, which was yesterday's pivot. And it was holding right around this area. So this is really where I entered a scalp long, because I was effectively looking at this thing to start breaking out and tagging this level right here, which is 19,328. But I said, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it falls short. And, lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. It fell short of this key marker right here and it rolled over, right? So we sold out our position at 19,300. So caught a nice $200 move or so. Nice little profit. But other than that, I honestly am not interested in taking scalp trades, because I do believe that I want to focus on the bigger moves, and the bigger moves of BTC right now are just not clear. Okay, that's the best I can tell you, is they're just not clear. If we go back to the higher time frames, right, it's very hard to make a compelling case, from here, that we have to just go straight up. I honestly am not seeing the case right now, other than the fact that we've sold off so aggressively, like we talked about yesterday, pushed back up, reclaimed this level right here, which is the 18,985 level. That's a good sign, but again, we have to hold above that level on a daily basis and then break above this 19,287 level on a daily basis. Then we can start talking about higher highs. But until then, I still think this is a lot of chop. In the analysis I posted this morning, right, I talked about different scenarios and different paths that BTC can take. First one being, if we kind of just laid out a easy path right here, it's possible we do something like this, which is if we don't get past this 19,500 area. I'll show you guys that one more time. So this is really the area that we're hitting a hard supply, meaning there's big sellers coming into the market and torching price, once, twice, three times, and now once again, fourth, right? But the thing is, on the fourth time around, right, or rather every consecutive time after, so once, twice, three times, and now potentially four times right here, these are still higher lows. And so you can look at this higher low as, a big triangle potentially like this being created, which is an ascending triangle. Now, if that breaks out and we break above this red box that you see, then we can start talking about higher prices. But until then, I think this is the key supply area that we need to be focusing on, which is really capping price. So our immediate resistance is pretty easily laid out for us, which is $19,500 and some change. So breaking above this, then we start talking about these previous 19,900, 20,000 highs. Stay below this, and it's possible that we still keep chopping around this area. Maybe we keep chopping around that triangle that I just talked about, and maybe, just maybe, we may follow something like this path that I laid out earlier this morning, which is for the 6 hour right here. There's many different paths that I laid out, right? Number one, there's this hard solid trend line. So let me make this different color so y'all could see it clearly. So this blue trend line right here, okay, that is from a touch on November 7th, 9th, over here, just November 26th, November 27th, and it's possible that we roll over towards that blue trend line over the next coming days. There's another dotted trend line, which is this one right here, that comes from the November 2nd touch, the November 26th, 27th touch, and who knows, maybe we get towards that trend line in the next day, 2 days, 5 days. I don't know when, right? So that's why I kind of have this path taking different time frames and different patterns to get towards that that trend line. So it's either this trend line or this trend line. And the final trend line is this, deeper one, which is this dotted trend line down here. Now that was supporting price all through this big, consolidation, uptrend right here, which really helped propel price higher and higher and higher. Now, I personally believe that this is a key area where a lot of consolidation, a lot of big players entered the market, because from here, they marked the market up much faster, much higher, and didn't let it come down anywhere close to this area. So I believe that if we are to assume that the market is going to have a pretty decent drawdown, so let's just say it doesn't hold up on any of these trend lines, then I bet it comes towards this trend line. And let's just say we drop straight down over the next 2 or 3 days right here. Well, that's somewhere around $15,500 or so. If we take 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, by the end of December, let's just say, then that comes around 16,000 flat, maybe 16,200, which is this previous area of support that we hit a couple days ago. It's hard to say exactly which path we're going to take, but I do believe that we're going to crash into one or all of these trend lines. I'm kind of failing to see the case where from here we just have to go straight up. It's possible. Like I said, it's very possible that if you look on the 15-minute time frame, if we just start breaking up, holding above 19,500, then okay, all is good. We've basically, scoped out a good area of key resistance and broken above it. Then we can start talking about higher highs. Until then, it's really iffy. And largely, I've been avoiding Bitcoin long positions other than this scalp that I just took. Obviously, I didn't even want to take the scalp, but the risk reward just looks so great. I said, you know what? Screw it. Like, why not? All right. Let me see here. What are your thoughts on a potential Elliott wave count? Okay, so I've tried to do Elliott wave counts on this. It is really, really iffy. I don't think Elliott wave counts are very clear on this. Maybe you could start talking about like a expanded flat correction somewhere in this area, and that could bring about an Elliott wave count. So let's just say, if we throw out the daily, right? Get rid of this stuff here first. Let's do this. I hate when this happens. I wish freaking TradingView would fix this. Just fix this real quick. Okay, so let's talk about an Elliott wave count, right? So let's just do a count from down here, because this is really the big correction. You could say there was a let's do a ABC correction over here, right? So let's just say somewhere up here was the top of the 5th. Okay, you know what? Let's just do a count from down here. Okay, so let's just say this is a a big 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now that 5 is also part of a larger 1. There might be a 2 coming. Now that 2 could go pretty damn deep. Okay, it could go deep as 10,000, or it could stop around 14,000. We don't really know, because it's a 2 wave, right? So 2 waves generally come out if the market is really bullish, like really, really bullish. The second wave will probably stop around 25% or 38.2. So if we just did a from this low right here to this high right here, 25% gets us to about 15,788. 382 gets us to about 13.6. Both these are right in line with the weekly levels that we've mapped out previously, right? Which is, if you look over here, let me get rid of these alerts quick. Okay. So if you look at these markers on the weekly basis, see this one right here, 16,225. If we break that on a weekly basis, we should be heading to the next key support level, which is around $13,900, right? If we break that, then we head down a little bit further, around 12,400 or so, which is this red line right here. Okay, so again, that kind of falls in line with somewhere around these two markers. Now let's just say the count is wrong, right? Let's just say we're not done with the fifth, and maybe the fifth extends out a little bit further. Okay, that's fine. We can obviously play around with it different ways. Okay, but just for the sake of mapping that out, let's just say that was the fifth, but then internally, right, we have maybe a 1, 2, massive 3, 4, 5. And then this is where things get tricky, because you now have an A, B that pushes up past the 5. This is where you get that expanded flat, different kind of triangle corrections in Elliott waves. And then you can say, okay, well then you have, where's the ABC? Right, so you have an A, a B, and a C that's still being worked on, okay? Or, like I said, it's possible that the previous 5 wave I told you, and then this 5 wave are still yet to finish, okay? So meaning they might be finishing up a little bit further, or maybe this one is a finishing 5th wave count, all right? And now we have just the beginnings of an A, a B, and a C. So even if we did that, let's just say this is the top of the 5th, right? Gosh, let me get rid of this thing real quick, okay? So let's just say we are in the beginnings of the top of the 5th, okay? So if we did a retrace from this low to this high, a very bullish retrace should be taking us to about 17,500. Still a relatively bullish retrace should be taking us to about 16,100. A deeper retrace might be 14,920, and a 618 golden pocket retrace takes us to about $13,723, right? So all of these are in the realm of possibilities. But again, Elliott wave counts in this are very, very hard to count, because the market is just so choppy that it's unable to show you, what kind of wave counts it's finished. And also, guys and gals, it's too early. It's too early to determine if this is the top and we have to roll over. I see plenty of people, whether it's on Twitter or all these different communities talking about, Bitcoin is overvalued, and, crypto is now going to crash, or we're going to go down much further because the whales are going to manipulate price. That doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because why would you get so close to all-time high with so much, volume and so much untapped potential in retail to still FOMO into the market? Like, I don't get why you would, get so close to that high and not breach it and head towards 21, 22, 25,000. See, that's, I think, in my opinion, that's probably the final wave of the big parabolic move that we're talking about. Now, once more, it's not necessary that we have to go through a parabolic move. We can have a very healthy bull market, and we can say, all right, we've made a big move up. Let's correct down maybe for the next couple of weeks, maybe even several months, and then start moving our way out maybe in January, February, or March 2021. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Just because people are not okay with that kind of delay, that doesn't mean that we're bearish. It just means that sometimes markets take a little bit longer to retrace, and profit taking happens, rebuilding of positions happen, shifting of capital happens, right? So I'm not the kind of quote unquote uber bull where I think that we have to just instantaneously just teleport from here to 20,000. It's not necessary. I'm okay with us heading down further. And to be honest, I'm probably much more prepared for either one or all of these scenarios, because I've told y'all before, in this area right here, just expect chop. I mean, expect to get torched in this area unless price breaks above 19.5, 19.6, or price starts to break down and gives you signals, of buying opportunities around 17,000 flat, 17,500, maybe 16,500, something like that. See, those are the areas you want to be focusing on, because those are the best high reward trades. Like this area, that's a sweet spot. Okay. Other than this, what are you even hoping for around here? Are you hoping for volatility and volume to just spontaneously come back in and drive this up further? Because I'm not. I believe that it's okay for the market to cool off a little bit, maybe take out some leverage traders and just chop around in this area. See, I've explained this before in my previous videos, which is that when Bitcoin, or any asset for that matter, has such a parabolic move, right, has such a big movement to the upside where it has gained 20, 40, 70, 100% over the last month or two, it's okay if that price then takes a couple of days or weeks off to be able to realize some profits for the big players in the market. Because those are ultimately the players who move the market anyway. You, me, and our 100x leverage trades can't really do anything. And the other way I've proven that the reason why I believe the market is probably going to come to a slowdown or standstill or whatever you want to call it, like lack of volume or volatility, is because once again we start seeing futures or perps like BitMEX, FTX, Binance futures starting to lead spot in price. You either see a $5, $10, $15 premium in things like BitMEX or FTX or Binance futures versus Coinbase right here. You can see it right here, right? BitMEX is trading at 191.95 and Coinbase was just at 19,189 or something, right? So $3, $5, $10 premiums are pretty standard that we've been seeing the last several days. And generally, when you start seeing a strong bid out of spot, meaning real, actual Bitcoin buying, that's where I feel a little bit comfortable in saying, okay, here are the real players in the market. They're driving up price, not by leverage trades, but going on BitMEX and 100xing things. That's not what real players do in the market, big whales or anything. They go out and accumulate spot. They buy spot, and that's how they start driving up their price, because what spot helps them do is they already have leverage positions that they've opened up in other markets, whether it's options or long dated futures or perpetual futures. And then they go out and start buying spot and driving up both prices. So they're making money on spot, and then they're making money on options and perpetual futures. See, this is the best way to be a whale, is you are literally the maker of the market, right? I'm not going to say market maker because I don't want to confuse the terminology, but the maker of the market, which is the big whale, the bigger institutions, the bigger hedge funds, they know exactly how to maximize returns, but what they don't have the tolerance for is unnecessary risk, downside risk protection. And the way you protect downside risk is when the market is really hot, okay, and you see degenerate traders, continuously driving up the market, well, you want to sell into their hands. You need to start taking profit when the volume and volatility is high. Why? Because when you have millions and millions and millions of dollars and hundreds and thousands of Bitcoin, you need to engineer liquidity, because you can't just market sell $100 million of Bitcoin if you have that kind of position, because you would torch the market. You would drop the price, at least $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. That will cost you hundreds and thousands of dollars in slippage. So you have to be able to sell in a range over a distributed period of time. And that's how markets start showing tendencies of ranges of profit taking. And the tendency right now, in my humble opinion, is something like that, which is there might be some profit taking around this area. If we break up from here, fine and dandy. I'm okay with that. I will just re-long, right? But for now, I'm just being a little bit more careful and saying, I think the market is a little bit more extended. Maybe we chop around here. Maybe we break out. I don't know. But either way, I have spot Bitcoin. So if we break out, fine. I will come in tomorrow, the day after, and I'll long my longs. But I think right now, the best trade, in my opinion, and I talked about this in altcoin analysis right here, or I'm sorry, DeFi analysis right here. Some of the coins that I'm paying attention to, okay, are all written right here. Okay, so this is for Advantage members only. So we can go over those, right? Because here's the thing. When there is a calming period in Bitcoin, there has been a tendency to see capital flight rotate away from traditional altcoins or Bitcoin into other parts of the market, whether it's the Uniswap part of the market, the DeFi part of the market, the NFTs part of the market. For now, it seems like the capital rotation is heading into DeFi. And this is why I talked about certain assets. Again, it's present in DeFi Analysis and DeFi Leverage Long right here, the trades that I took. So one of the assets that I'm kind of paying attention to is AAVE. Right, AAVE kind of really just took off earlier today, or even yesterday, and I still do believe that AAVE has more upside, but it has kind of launched a decent amount. So be a little bit more careful here. But personally, I believe AAVE in the near term probably has a decent amount of room to go. So the first target that I'd be paying attention to just on a pivot basis is this R1 level. Anywhere between R1 and this 1.618, so 96 to 101, that's the zone that you want to look for your first target. The next big zone is probably anywhere between the R2 and the 2.618, which is around 118 all the way to 133. Okay, and I personally believe AAVE is, in my opinion, probably one of the better DeFi projects than the other garbage cryptos that are out there that are worth millions and billions. I don't even know why AAVE is not priced much higher. But do I care? Not really. I'm going to go along for the ride, and make my money in AAVE. And later down the line, who knows? Maybe people catch up and drive it even further. Okay. The other asset, Band, I was talking about this earlier today too. A lot of the DeFi assets are kind of showing bottoming tendencies. For example, this one shows maybe a inverse head and shoulders, like a tilted one over here with a neckline right there. Band, once more, pretty decent project in the DeFi space, and you could start looking to the upside of these pivots as your targets on the way up. Let me see here. Link, of course, is the DeFi favorite, if you will. Well, I would probably say Link and Wi-Fi are the DeFi favorites. But Link, also, I was, I think I got out a little bit early, right around 13.7-ish earlier today, or rather last night. And I'm okay with that because I think, unfortunately, Link is showing worse, or I don't know if that's a word, but worse tendencies in terms of altcoins looking to break out in terms of structure than other DeFi coins, because Link is one of the few altcoins that has this previous high and now a lower high, and that is much more similar to the trajectory of things like ETH, which has, somewhat of a double top right here, or, bearish SFP, or a LTC, this one right here, right? A pretty strong looking double top. But see, the other coins within the DeFi space, like say YFI, these are higher highs that we've just put in. And aside from that, I mean, YFI took a ton of liquidity right here and put in a nice bottom looking to start push back up. Same thing that I just showed you in Band, same thing that I just showed you in AAVE. And, if you look across the board, right, let's just say we look at Cream, which is the other YFI product. Again, once more, right, you had a big reaccumulation right here. Boom, strong volume breakout. See, that's a pretty high volume breakout right there. Big volume right through that level. See, that's exactly what you want to see if you're looking for DeFi coins to be paying attention to, big volume breakouts. So I'm kind of seeing that across the board in DeFi, and this is why I decided to pick up some DeFi coins. Okay, so let's check out BTC. It looks like it's getting a bit of a sell pressure right here. So if I were paying attention to BTC right now, once more, if you just want to sort of set some alerts, like let's just say you didn't want to worry about BTC, right? And you said, you know what, call me when something really happens. Well, here's what I'd do. I'd set some alerts above this area, which is around 19,550. And I'd set some alerts below 18,600 and below 18,000 flat. Those are the only areas that I give a crap about. Other than that, chop around here all you want, but don't call me unless something gets above here, below here, or below here. Okay? Because I promise you, all this garbage, people are going to get, they're going to get chopped up. The gains that you made, folks, in this entire run up that you had right here, you're going to give it all back if you just keep focusing on this area and start, trying to gamble on which way is going to break up or down. Because chances are it could do this. It could torch you to the upside, take out your shorts, and then roll over to the downside. This is how cynical and evil Bitcoin sometimes becomes, because it leaves no prisoners and it doesn't let you have a free ride. So it'll take out your shorts and you may be right on the direction to the downside, but then it'll start rolling over after it's taken out your shorts up here, right? So it's best that, in my opinion, I still have not shorted Bitcoin in several months. And that's because I still maintain my thesis, which is that in this area, as long as we stay generally like at least above 14,000, we're still in a nice bullish trending market. Even if we stay above 14,000, like I said, this area right here, nice little pocket before we broke out above this area. If we come down there, I'm a buyer. Like I'm buying like none other, Now the bear scenario is, okay, if we break below that area, well, shit, something is clearly wrong. And then I'm going to have to get out at a loss. But if you just follow technicals, your job is as simple as sometimes selling resistance and buying support. Like if you make your job and your life simple like that, your trading career and its lifespan will exponentially grow. Same thing with your capital. But if you keep focusing on smaller time frames and focusing on this garbage and trying to call tops and bottoms, you will have a very limited career in crypto and in just trading, because it's not worth it. No person gets tops and bottoms. If they do, they're lucky maybe once in a while, but it's very hard to do it consistently. So you focus on maybe the probabilities of it being a top, but not aggressively betting it's a top, and same thing, not aggressively betting it's a bottom. Okay, follow the trend, manage your risk, take profits when you can, move your stops up, and just follow the trend of the market, follow the momentum, right? And sometimes, it's like the easiest trade sometimes to figure out where exactly that momentum is, where exactly the easiest, or rather the path of least resistance is, right? And of course, in my opinion, the path of least resistance and most pain is, I believe, still to the upside. But that doesn't mean that you have to just, teleport straight up. It could mean that you destroy some traders, in a chop, maybe head up and out. Or maybe, like I said earlier, or going along with these scenarios, maybe we come down here. Maybe we chop around for several weeks, which, I'm totally okay with doing, because it was getting a little annoying to hear every single person become uberly bullish, right? So let's, deafen that noise a little bit, take out those people who are degen longers. And I bet you, once price starts rolling over like this, guess what? These people are going to be awfully quiet and quieter and quiet and silent. Like when Bitcoin comes down here, majority of people are going to be silent, because they're going to be like, okay, well, that's the top, now we're going to go down. And then it climbs and it climbs and it climbs and it climbs. Okay. So focus on that noise, focus on the psychology of the market, focus on where exactly are people positioned. Now it's okay to say, you know what, I believe that people are, very much positioned long right here. And I think I'm going to short the market. Great. More power to you. If you want to short, your stop is up here. Your take profits should be any one of these trend lines or all of these trend lines. Short it, come back a month later and see if your short worked out. It's as simple as that. Because if you believe that this is a local top, that's all you got to do. You short it, leave a stop up here, somewhere around 20,000, 20,200 or something, and just start taking profit markers, around these trend lines. That's it. It's as simple as that. If you're longing, however, well, you got to be patient, my friend. You got to wait around somewhere down here, or maybe this blue line, or maybe down a little bit lower. Okay. Now, or also it's possible we break above, like I said, 19.5, and then we take that trade to the upside. Okay. But for now, like I said, rotation trade, focus on where the money is flowing, where the assets are starting to show strength while BTC calms down and chops around. And I believe that is DeFi. Okay. So we talked about ETH a little bit, right? So I still believe ETH is in a double top looking thing, but I'm also aware that this whole thing could be like a big cup and handle. I am aware of that, but once again, you got to clear, 620, 625, and then maybe we can start talking about higher prices. Because if ETH clears 620, 625, somewhere around here, it's going to be a straight slice towards this next marker, which is around, $750 to $800. Okay, that I'm fairly confident about. If ETH breaks above this area, I would be pretty confident saying that I'm taking along towards this target. All right. Let's check out XRP. So there was some debate in the other channel about, if Bitcoin goes up or down, XRP is going to keep going. I don't really know, to be honest. I think XRP moved up really fast, really hard. And more often than not, again, these are probabilities. Right? More often than not, when something moves that aggressively, there's usually a mean reversion trade out of it, meaning you're gonna retrace. Yeah, it's possible that it keeps going up, but it also moved up, like, what is it, 4x in the span of 1 month? Like, you don't really do that just, straight up without having some, profit taking and mean reversion to the downside. And that could mean, possibly price chopping around this range right here for maybe several days, maybe even goes a little bit lower towards 70.5, this fib down here. It's hard to say, but I believe that if Bitcoin does any one of these paths or all of them, I feel fairly confident saying I don't think XRP is going to be immune. Neither will ETH. Maybe ETH because it has that ETH, phase 2 thing going on. But usually like fundamentals like that rarely change the trajectory of things when the overall market, especially the market leader, which is Bitcoin, starts, rolling over, right? But on the flip side, like I said, the segment of the market where capital flight and rotation might move to could be DeFi. So pay attention, read the channels and the updates that I post about, okay? Because that is where the most important stuff is. All right. Is there anything else you guys want me to cover? Dot. All right. Got you, Chaos. Okay. So, same thing with dot, right? So I talked about this again. This could be like maybe a tilted cup and handle. And personally, I think dot is in the same basket of movement as traditional alts like ETH and Link and LTC because it's not moving with the same kind of strength and putting in a different structure like AAVE or Cream or a Band or YFI is, right? Or else it would have cleared this high. It would have had a higher high up here. So the fact that dot has a clear lower high tells me that maybe dot chops around this area as BTC maybe does one or all of these trajectories. It's possible dot goes a little bit lower, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of dot, so I might be a little bit biased. But if I get an opportunity back in this range right here, this reaccumulation range, as a buying opportunity, I would happily buy. I would buy some spot, maybe even some leverage long positions. Okay. So keep an eye on anywhere between 370 all the way up to 470, that zone of reaccumulation that they had. Let me see here. See if there's anything happening. Traditional altcoins. Decred ran 83% today. Yeah, I heard about that. We talked about FTX. I think that's pretty much it. Okay, cool. All right, folks. Well, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up here. Y'all take care, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. All right. Cheers.